In this video we are going to talk about the hardest video games in 2022. So before starting this video, like this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel for future updates. The hardest computer games of the year have provoking ongoing interaction mechanics that powers players to adjust as they face against various adversaries that will make players disappointed to the point of being unrecognizable. We are positioning the hardest computer games of 2022. Highlighting the hardest current computer games, this rundown centers around the freshest and most troublesome computer games of 2022. Number 10, Elden Ring. The most recent dim dream game from Software Studios, Elden Ring brings a persistently difficult encounter that matches the Dark Souls and Bloodborne series. Including an immense open world loaded up with imminent risk everywhere, players are given the opportunity to pick their own way as they cross through a setting loaded up with horrendous beasts, dim and mysterious conditions, and soul-pounding supervisor fights that is famously troublesome. In Elden Ring, players control an adaptable player character on an excursion to fix the Elden Ring and become the new Elden Lord. The game is introduced through a third individual viewpoint, with players unreservedly wandering its intuitive open world. Ongoing interaction components incorporate battle utilizing a few sorts of weapons and enchantment spells, horseback riding, and creating. The player picks a person class toward the beginning of the game, which decides the spells and hardware that they begin with. Battle with foes can be inside scuffle range, or from a good ways utilizing ran weapons or spells. Assaults from foes can be hindered utilizing safeguards or abstained from by evading. Number 9, Sifu. Propelled by Chinese activity film, the beat-them-up move experience errands players to initiates on the job of a kung fu understudy who embarks to chase down and rout the 5 professional killers who mercilessly killed his loved ones. Highlighting an unforgiving and proud interactivity, Sifu stands apart as a game that provokes players to excel at kung fu that deserve the films it was propelled from. The game, which is roused by Bak Mei Kung Fu, incorporates north of 150 exceptional assaults. Fundamental assault moves can be anchored together, however a few combos might concede players extra strategic open doors, for example, having the option to thump down foes or daze them. The hero and all threatening foe characters have a primary check. At the point when the measure is totally filled, the watchmen of these characters will break and they will become powerless against completing assaults. Number 8, Eldest Souls. High speed and severely testing, Eldest Souls is a stunning spirits-like game that is about the infuriatingly great manager fights. Viewed as a 2D Dark Souls by the two pundits and players the same, Eldest Souls breaks players' assumptions as they are confronted with a wide range of kinds of manager fights and procures its spot as one of the most troublesome rounds of the year. Oldest Souls currently incorporates Profundities of the Forgotten, a free, significant extension which presents a new and risky district, 3 new managers, a determination of exceptional weapons, a weapon customization framework, and an all-new ability to wreck. Settled in inside the actual guts of presence, distant from the moon's pale brilliance, decays an old void, the forgotten depths. It is as these unimaginable compasses, that Exil can find those that at this point not filled his wretched need, a general with nothing to order, a main beneficiary of devastating grouch, and a king, consumed with the prolongation of his own empty presence. Number 7, Ghost Runner. The cyberpunk activity platformer procures its put on the rundown for its super high-speed interactivity and is considered severely unforgiving by the two players and pundits the same. The game requires most extreme concentration if players have any desire to advance through the game, as they should depend on each capacity, expertise, and benefit they have. As Jack the Ghost Runner, the player should navigate risky conditions by running, hopping, wall running, and hooking. The player will likewise experience adversaries, which should be dealt with cautiously, as the two foes and the player can be killed in one hit. Jack can utilize a specialist called Sensory Boost, permitting him to dial back time and avoid and redirect disasters in midair. As the player advances through the story, they will open new capacities and updates, which they can apply utilizing Tetramino-like pieces on a network framework. Number 6. Returnal. Returnal is Studio Housemarque's most memorable AAA title and elements dazzling illustrations and a vivid story that is tied straightforwardly to interactivity. It is an unimaginably troublesome game because of its shot damnation supervisor plan and its roguelike structure where each passing sends players back to the absolute starting point and resets long stretches of progress. Moreover, each endeavored run is different as the planet remixes itself and it powers players to get various weapons and battle various adversaries en route. Returnal is a third-individual shooter video game including roguelike components and covering the mental frightfulness genre. Set in a modern sci-fi setting, the player controls Celine Vassos, Jane Perry, a space pilot, outfitted with a suit and equipped with cutting-edge weapons, who is abandoned on the outsider planet Atropos, and trapped in a period circle. Number 5. GTFO. GTFO is a super helpful frightfulness shooter that tosses players from grasping tension to hazardous activity instantly. The game procured its reputation for being very unforgiving, as players are compelled to cooperate to finish goals and endure a crowd of unspeakable animals. The game tests players' cooperation, valiance, and versatility in manners they will not expect and rebuffs each slip-up made, making the game one of the hardest of the year. GTFO players structure a group of 4 foragers who are compelled to investigate the tremendous underground complex to finish the warden's targets. Muddling the cycle is the presence of ghastly resting beasts, who have overwhelmed the entire region. Number 4. Metroid Dread. The hotly anticipated and most recent passage to the Metroid series, Metroid Dread difficulties players as they are continually pursued by a mechanical foe that can a single shot them. While Metroid Dread is definitely not a big-picture approach contrasted with different passages, it brings back the first trouble that the series is known for and it moves players to adjust and play in a manner that is suggestive to Metroid games when they previously emerged. Metroid Dread is an activity experience game in which players control Abundance Tracker Samus Aran as she investigates the planet ZDR. It holds the side looking over ongoing interaction of past Metroid games. Close by the Free Point and Scuffle assaults included Samus Returns, 2017. As the player investigates, they find new things and weapons, permitting them to get to new areas. Number 3. Tormented Souls. Enlivened by exemplary frightfulness games, Tormented Souls highlights unspeakable detestations that make certain to provide players with an enduring sensation of fear. With a huge assortment of perplexing riddles and fixed camera points joined with a restricted styled ongoing interaction, the game presents players a troublesome test that must be found in an exemplary repulsiveness game. Likewise, the game is loaded up with frightening beasts and symbolism that makes it particularly challenging for veterans of ghastliness games and new players the same. A cutting-edge, make-an-on-the-fixed viewpoint move experience game, Tormented Souls offers a modernized control plan and dynamic camera joined with exemplary interactivity. Destructive combat, dark powers, and unspeakable repulsions will do everything possible to stop Caroline getting to reality. Number 2. Tunic. Set in a destroyed land and outfitted with just your own interest, players assume the job of a little fox who investigates a land loaded up with lost legends, old powers, and fierce beasts. Made by one man, the non-mainstream game takes motivation from the Legend of Zelda series and the Dark Souls series as it stands apart as one of the hardest rounds of the year for its inventive mysterious world, and testing supervisor fights making it one of most difficult independent rounds of the year. Tunic is played ostensibly in an isometric view, permitting the player to move their personality, a human fox, around the game's reality, cooperating with items and battling foes, on the off chance that essential the player can change to a more hierarchical view in battle. Number 1. Thymesia. In the reviled kingdom of Hermes, catastrophe has ruined to the grounds, leaving a lot of death, rot, and obliteration afterward. Monstrous, startling animals presently meander the world, and it depends on players to stop the spread of death all through the realm in this masochistic, difficult activity pretending game. With every foe harder than the last, players should be ready for the battle of their life as they endeavor to purge the universe of this new evil. Corvus is the realm's last expectation, the destiny of Hermes resting in his padded hands. What do you think about this video? Do let us know in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this video and want to hear from us again, be sure to hit that subscribe button before you go.